Hey everybody! As you can see, there's something new in back of me here, and you're gonna hear all about that on this week's episode. We took a trip up to the US. We went to Oregon and San Diego to visit family and friends, and during that time, we got a new vehicle. So you're gonna see all that and all the details of our trip up and back in this week's episode. We're Douglas and Esperanza, and we decided to leave our lives in the US, sell almost everything we own, and move to Baja California Sur, where we decided to start a resort in the magical town of Loreto, Mexico. Please come with us to follow our journey and live before you die. Well, we're coming to you from Oregon today, not in Mexico anymore. We actually came up for a trip to buy a new 4Runner here. And today I'm with a super special guest. This is Quinn. And Quinn is my nephew, and he is our very first subscriber ever to Douglas and Esperanza channel. So Quinn is here today. He's gonna help me because we're gonna put some running boards on the 4Runner. So as you remember, we had a Toyota Tundra, we sold it, and the plan was always to come up and buy another 4Runner here, and so we've done that now, and we're going to put some running boards on this thing because it's pretty tall. It's got a 3-inch lift kit on it, and it's pretty difficult to get in without running boards. All right, let's get to work. All right, Quinn, first thing we're gonna do is get down in here and pull off these bolts right here. There's 1, 2. That's where the first bracket goes. Okay. Watch your eyes. Maybe we should have some eye protection on. All right. We'll just do them one at a time here. We're gonna turn this over to Esperanza here to film. Okay, so yeah, this is the front, driver's front, I don't know, mounting bracket, I guess. So, and there's 2.
Oh, driver center middle.
Yep. So you got a 1 nut.
Yeah.
And so we're just gonna put these on hand tight to start until we get everything on, and then we'll tighten it up because otherwise you've got to move them all around to adjust everything. These come with all new bolts to put in after you take these out. So putting running boards on a 4Runner is very, very easy because it comes from the factory with all the bolt locations there, and you just whip out the bolts, put on 3 brackets, sit the running board on it, bolt it on. And this is why I got Quinn working here, because he knows what to do. I don't even have to tell him. He knows where the brackets go. I might have to hire Quinn to come down to Mexico and work at Pufferfishvillas because he's doing a good job here. Next step is we've got the running board for the driver's side here, and it's been pre-assembled, and then all these studs are in here. Now, this is not the way the instructions say to do this. The instructions actually say to put the brackets onto the running board and then mount the whole thing up underneath there. But I actually did this similar kind of running board on the Tundra, and that was a big mistake because then it's so heavy and you're trying to hold it up there and get the brackets screwed in up above your head, and it's really difficult. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just put the brackets on first and then sit this on top of it? Yeah. So that's the way we're going to do it. getting tightened up. So then let's do this one on this outside.
Okay.
So we can kind of lock it in. Okay.
That is very tight.
All right.
All right. That was a job well done.
Looks pretty good. All right.
Douglas, are you gonna put grip tape on these?
Probably not, because they're,
Okay.
I think they're pretty grippy.
All right.
All right, now we'll do the other side. All right, now we got both the running boards on, and when you put them on with this, it's kind of random how much they get torqued down. So we're gonna go back with a socket wrench so we can just make sure that everything is tight. And yeah, see, we can get a couple more turns on this. So we wanna tighten these until it's pretty tight. Okay, and then just all of them till they're there is a torque spec on this, but I didn't want to try to find a torque wrench, so.
Oh wow.
And you see how sometimes the impact driver doesn't tighten them. I mean, it's totally random. Sometimes they're really tight and sometimes they're really loose. I kind of like this. I got I was gonna say a helper, but he's not a helper because he's doing all the work. I have a very good associate here. It made this way easier.
Andy knows what he's doing.
Yep. And then you get to test it here. As soon as Quinn gets the rest of these all torqued down, we will give it the ultimate test, the Esperanza test.
Yeah, pretty easy. Plug and play kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It's great they come pre-assembled.
Yes, because I put them on a long time ago, like an old 60s Bronco or something, and you literally had to drill the frame and try to get these bolts up in there, and it was horrible to put on running boards. So, all right, I'm going to take the camera and we are going to have Esperanza check it out and see how it is. Because Esperanza is the shortest and she had the most problem.
Well, it's sturdy. Let me see getting it. Oh my gosh, so much better. Oh, huge difference. Thanks, guys.
All right, well, another job done well. Thanks to Quinn here.
Yeah,
Thank you,
awesome.
buddy. And now we can head back to Mexico, and we've got everything done that we wanted to get done on the 4Runner. So super stoked. Thanks, buddy. Well, we just got back to Pufferfish Villas and the Oasis here, and we took a trip up to the US. We had to get a bunch of stuff done while we were up there, and one of the biggest things we wanted to do is to buy a 4Runner, and we were successful. We bought a 2019 4Runner in Oregon and drove it all the way back here to Pufferfish Villas from Portland area. So I'll tell you all about that coming up. Right now, I'm working on getting everything unloaded before it gets too hot. It's overcast this morning, which is good, but not good because it's humid. So it's about 85, 86 degrees. It's humid. So I'm trying to get this stuff out before the sun comes up and it gets really hot. We needed to go up and get a bunch of stuff from US that we have trouble getting here. So we brought back a full load, and you can see it's somewhat cleared out because we had a cooler on this side and we had a snack box on this side and our backpacks on the other side. So all this stuff we took out when we actually got home last night, because we got home right after dark last night. But the entire rest of it is full. I started taking out some of the stuff in the back here, and then I decided I'm gonna do a video and show you guys. So we brought down just a lot of stuff that we have trouble getting here or is very expensive to get here. Things like, this is kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. I love these Monster Orange Sunrise. Nobody ever has them down here. Once in a while, somebody will have them down here, but almost never. A lot of the other stuff, a vast majority of the stuff that we got is stuff for the villas. And this is towels, linens, sheets, things like that that are difficult to find the quality that we're looking for down here. Now you could order them down here, but then you can't feel them. You don't know what the quality is if you order them. Here in town, they really don't have anything of the high-end hotel luxury quality linens and towels available anywhere. So we get those when we go up to the US. Take up a lot of room. A whole bunch of towels, a whole bunch of linens, take up a lot of room. Also, we went to Lowe's. They had a bunch of outdoor pillows on really good sale, closeout, like 60% off. We needed some outdoor pillows for the villa. So we got a bunch of stuff here that is going to be improvements for the villas already. We're already making improvements. I am going to get back to work unloading everything. Now we fit most of the stuff into totes. We've got 5 totes in here. We also have the Moke battery in the middle of there. And so the rest of the stuff is just around it. We actually got way more stuff than I ever thought we would be able to get into this 4Runner. We had one before, and I didn't think it was going to fit all this stuff, but it did. Now, one thing you might be saying, what is that in here for? This is the craziest thing ever. Talavera pots. Now, I don't know, and that may not be how you say it. That's how I've heard people say here, Talavera. Those pots don't come from this part of Mexico. They're imported to this section of Mexico, and they are super expensive here. They sell them in all the shops downtown, but literally this is the Talavera pot that came from Mexico, probably the same place the pots that we have here in town come from. This pot was less than half the price of a pot that we can buy here in town. So there's probably a whole bunch of shipping costs, and they probably have a bulk shipping, when it goes to somewhere in the US. This came from like TJ Maxx in the US. So we normally would just buy it down here and pay the extra money anyways, but Esperanza was in TJ Maxx. We wanted another Talavera pot for down at the villas around the pool. She saw this. She said, it's awesome. It's perfect. It's really inexpensive. So we went ahead and bought it and brought it back. I'm getting situated out here. It is crazy hot here right now. It's like 93 degrees and 67% humidity. I just went in and looked, and it's only 8 o'clock in the morning. But that's okay. I'm not complaining. I love it. It's just when I have a whole bunch of physical labor to get done and it's this hot, it's difficult. All right. Of course, I knew when I got back I was going to have some issues. Of course, the beast here, the Rhino, is one of my biggest issues. It does not want to start after you leave it sit for any amount of time. I don't know if it's a bad fuel filter, fuel pump. I was going to work on that and put a new fuel filter when I got back, but it's almost impossible to get started. So of course, came back, tried to start it, couldn't start it, pumped the battery, pumped it until it stopped running, put a charger on it. Let's just give it a try. It's been charging here for probably about 2 hours, or an hour. Hey, it just went off. The charger just went off. All right, let's see if I can get it to start. Let me pull this charger down here so it doesn't rattle off there. All right, let's give it a try. And yes, I choked it the first time to see if I get the fuel up here. It just does not want to start after it's sat. Ooh, I can hear it. Oh, it's almost starting. I'll work on it later. Last time I let it sit for several weeks. Took me 3 days to get it to start. Probably at least 2 or 3 hours working on it, pulling the plug, pulling the fuel pump, everything. So it's the reason we got the Moke here, because we didn't want to have to deal with a vehicle that only works some of the time, once in a very long while. If anybody is an expert in rhinos and can tell me what is the problem, that if this thing sits more than 2 or 3 days, it won't start, and the longer it sits, the longer it takes to start. Now I know it's going to be, you're going to say a fuel issue, but I'll have it pumping up fuel. I can smell fuel through the carburetor. I can take it apart and watch fuel coming up through the carburetor. It still will take me another 2 hours to get it to start. So I don't know what's going on with it, but I'm getting tired of it. Messing with it every time I want to use it. All right, I got everything cleaned out. I even got everything watered, all the stuff, because there's cactus and stuff that isn't on the watering system because it only gets watered like once every couple weeks. As far as unloading goes, I got everything unloaded out of the 4Runner except the battery. This is the new lithium 74 volt battery for the Moke, and it weighs about 160 pounds. So it is very heavy, and I don't think I can get it out myself without totally screwing up my back. So I'm waiting till Esperanza gets up. We'll see if the two of us can get it out of here and get it over into the garage, get ready for the Moke conversion, which will definitely be a video coming up. So for those of you that haven't watched our story from the whole beginning, you might not know that this was kind of our plan all the way along. So we started out with a 4Runner and a little Silver Streak trailer, well actually a 19-foot Silver Streak trailer. Became obvious really quick that that trailer wasn't going to be big enough, so we decided to size up to a Grand Design 30-foot trailer. That required something bigger than the Tundra, because the Tundra can only tow 3,000 pounds. That trailer weighs like 6,700 pounds dry, so we need something bigger. So we sold our 4Runner, and we sold the trailer, we bought the new trailer, and we bought a Toyota Tundra. That worked great. We drove it down here. We lived in this trailer for 1.5 years, almost 2 years. Then we built our hidden bungalow inside our shop. So at that point, we don't really need the trailer anymore. and it still had a pretty good value, so we wanted to sell it while it was still worth something. And then we decided we didn't want the Tundra anymore. It's too big for down here, it's too big for the streets, it's too big to park. This is a 325-year-old city. It was not built for big, huge trucks. So we wanted to get something smaller. You know, back when we bought the 4Runner brand new, our old one, we did a ton of research. It was the best vehicle. I again went through all the vehicles that were out there. The 4Runner is still, for what I wanted, the best vehicle for the job. And we wanted to get a same 5th gen 4Runner. We bought one brand new, put almost 100,000 miles on it. Never did any repairs on it, just maintenance, tires and brakes. That's it. There never was anything went wrong with it. So we decided that we're going to get a 4Runner again. We tried the last time we went up to California to trade in the Tundra on a 4Runner directly. You can watch that in a previous video, maybe 10, 15 videos back. We decided we were going to redo it, go up to Oregon. We're changing our residency over to Oregon anyways. I'll tell you about that. But the Oregon, we don't have to pay tax, don't have to pay sales tax, and the registration fees are incredibly less. So in California, this would have cost us around $3,000 in taxes and $2,000 to register it and do the title and everything. In Oregon, it costs $0 for taxes, and it costs $127 to register it. So, you know, we're going to re-register it to South Dakota eventually, but this saved us over $5,000 buying this in Oregon instead of California. But you do have to be a resident of Oregon, which we went up there first and got our Oregon licenses, so we were residents so we could buy the vehicle. Good morning, everybody. Well, it's the next day. I ended up going inside yesterday, and Esperanza and I went and put away everything that we had brought back that went inside the villas, and it was just too hot to come back out and make a video outside. But this morning it's still hot, but it's a little bit less humid, so should be able to get through the video okay. I'm already sweaty, wet. I've been working outside. We got up really early. We had a car accident on the road in back of us last night where a car went off the road and smashed into somebody's fence. Not good. There's a really sharp curve up back there. And so, unfortunately, it looked like everybody was okay. The guy was okay that was driving, and nobody was injured in the house or anything. So, but that woke us up at like 4 o'clock this morning. And then we were all wide awake, so we're like, let's get some work done while it's cooler. So we've been working since like 4 o'clock. Esperanza went down to the lavanderia to start the washing process of all our new linens and towels. We just have probably 50 new towels and hand towels. I think we have 6 new sets of sheets. All that stuff has to be washed because you definitely can't use it before you wash it. So she's been working on that, and then she started doing all the watering down there. Yesterday I watered up here stuff that like cactus and stuff that we don't have the sprinklers on because they only get watered maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks. So did all that watering, did a bunch of cleanup. I did a bunch of landscaping this morning. So I'm hot and sweaty. We drove from Tigard, Oregon, which is just south of Portland, down to Carlsbad, California, where our good friends are, who we stayed with. So we broke that drive into 2 days because otherwise it's about a 16-hour drive from Portland to Carlsbad, which is just north of San Diego. And we stopped just south of Los Baños, which is south of Stockton. So it's about halfway between Stockton, California, well, maybe 2/3 of the way from Stockton, California to LA. So it's in between there. And we stayed at a hotel there. The hotel was the Best Western. It actually had a fantastic breakfast included. So that was really good. We drove first day. We did get caught in some traffic in Sacramento at rush hour. We didn't time that very good, but not much we can do going down I-5. So we took about 12 hours driving time with stops from Tigard, Oregon to Los Baños, California. Then we woke up early in the morning and we're going to try to get through LA before traffic. So we headed down over the Grapevine into LA. Everything was going great. And then there's an accident way down in Oceanside. It backed all the way up to Irvine. And there was about an hour extra on our driving time. So that was supposed to be a 5-hour drive. It ended up being a 6-hour drive. So day 2, we had about a 6-hour drive. Made it to Carlsbad, to our friend's house. Hung out with them overnight. Fantastic. Thank you guys for hosting us. And we got up early the next morning. The plan was 2 more days. We were going to go halfway down here, or more than halfway down here, get into Mexico to Guerrero Negro. That's a halfway point that a lot of people stop at. They have a couple really nice hotels there you can stay at in Guerrero Negro. Not much else going on there unless it's whale watching season, because that's their big tourist draw there. And other than that, they just pretty much everybody works at the big salt mine that they have in Guerrero Negro, which you can go see too. It's really cool. But we were driving, we were feeling good. We made it across the border very quickly, no problems at the border, drove right through. So everything was going so smooth. We were feeling good. We really wanted to get home. So once we made it to Guerrero Negro, we were there. We looked at, we know it takes about 5.5 hours from Guerrero Negro to get to Loreto. And so we said, we've got about 5 hours of daylight left. Let's go for it. We went for it. There was an accident just past San Ignacio and Santa Rosalia. That held us up for about 15-20 minutes, but we ended up making it here about a half hour after dark. So that was a long day. 14-hour drive from Carlsbad, California to here in Loreto, and that's with very minimal stops. We tried to keep the stops very short. No eating, no like going to a restaurant and stopping and eating for an extended period of time. Just fuel, bathroom, go. We ate in the car while we were driving. So total time for the trip, and I might have messed this up earlier, but our first leg was 12 hours long, and a little bit of that was traffic in Sacramento. I'm gonna call that 11 hours. Our second leg was 6 hours, and that was going from Los Baños to Carlsbad. I'm gonna call that 5 hours because we were definitely in a 1-hour backup. So let's call it, if there's no traffic or backups, 11 hours and 5 hours, so that's about 16 hours from Tigard, Oregon down to Carlsbad, California, which is right about in what we expected. That's what we've done that drive many times, and it's about 16 hours usually. So from Carlsbad, California all the way to Loreto is another 14 hours, and the total 30 hours. So you're looking at, if you want to drive all the way from Portland to Loreto with minimal stops. We don't like to stop, spend a lot of time. We don't go to restaurants and eat there or anything like that usually. We usually just go, eat in the car, only stop for fuel and bathroom breaks as we're going along. So 30 hours with no big stops. If you're going to make big stops, you add those in there and it'd probably be a little longer. But that's about what it takes to drive all the way down here. A lot of people like to drive short segments and take big breaks. I do too if we're driving the trailer and everything. It's really stressful. But just driving a smaller SUV, it's pretty comfortable driving even on the roads down here. And so we just prefer to just hammer it out, go for as long as we can safely until we start to get tired. And if we feel really good, I've driven over 20 hours straight before, so I can easily drive 12, 14, 16 hours, no problem. And we did do some breaks. On the way down here, Esperanza gave me a break, about a 45-minute break in the middle where she drove. So that gave me a chance to recharge and kind of just rest and relax a little bit, and then I can make the rest of the trip. Sometimes Esperanza drives longer segments, but Esperanza doesn't really like driving, so she doesn't as very much. I love driving. I hate being a passenger, so I would prefer to drive the entire way. And if I could have, I would have driven the entire way from there to here 30 hours. But Esperanza did take segments in all three of our drives so that I could rest and kind of relax a little bit. Thanks everybody for watching. It's good to be back, and I'm ready to get started on all the rest of the projects we have to do for our summer projects before we start to get the bulk of people coming back at the end of August. So there's lots to do. There's lots of new projects coming up, and we're even going to show you around Loreto a little more, so you aren't going to want to miss it. Hit that like button if you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming videos. And never forget to live before you die.